Okay, thank you for listening to this episode of Bloodhound Pix. As always, I am one of your hosts, Craig.
I'm Kyle.
And Josh.
So we're doing a special little episode where we're going to talk about some of our favorite kind of Halloween projects that we will return to, be it movies or books or music or whatever it may be. But each October or Shocktober, as it's called, we will kind of return to these projects. And I know a lot of people, they have their traditions where each Halloween they watch the movie Halloween or so on and so forth. So here are ours. Now, how are we going to do this, guys?
I don't know.
Do you want to go one by one or do you want to just go down your list?
I mean, why don't we go one by,
Okay.
jump around?
Sounds good. Okay, so I can go first. It's interesting because, so October for me, I mean, of course, we watch horror movies all throughout the year, especially if you listen to this podcast. And a lot of it, too, throughout the years, I'll normally spend a lot of time focusing on indie horror, and that's what we've been doing, indie and obscure. But Halloween time for me, I'll kind of go back to, I guess, the more notable movies. I'll do that and kind of cover all those bases. But the first one is the more consistent that I'll do for sure, and that is I'll listen to the album Bloody Kisses by Typo Negative, which features Christian Woman. It has one of their most popular ones, the Black Number One, which says the word Halloween, so it fits. And I heard it, I remember, playing during Halloween when I was in Los Angeles at Amoeba, so which I think is no longer, or I don't know if it exists anymore, but yeah, so it counts. Typo Negative's Bloody Kisses is a great album if you like Typo Negative, which Johnny Steele passed away a couple. That's his name. Yeah, Johnny Steele.
Peter Steele.
Peter Steele. There we go. Johnny Steele's from Critters. The fake musician in that who sings Power of the Night.
I could see how you could get those two confused then.
Yeah. But Peter Steele was also known for being in a spread of Playgirl magazine. That was his other big thing. And
nice.
So yeah, it's a great album. The if you watch the music video, it's also really great. It has him playing a stand-up bass in a cemetery. So check it out.
Awesome.
Okay, Kyle.
Okay. Yeah, I usually just go back to the standards. So one of the ones I'll probably watch is Scream, which I know people hate it these days. I don't know. Some people do, some people don't. They don't like the meta, jokey, witty, whatever. I know Neil hates it and would, he would epitomize the rant of like how it ruined the world or whatever, but I love it. I have nostalgia for it.
What do you think of the sequels? Because some people,
they just get
hit and miss.
They get worse. I need to revisit number 4 because I keep hearing people going on about it, but like I like part 2, but they just keep getting less and less good, and I don't know, hopefully the new one will be good, but I don't know.
For me, I think 4, it kind of, with all of its flaws, it's a decent wrap up. I don't know how where 5 can really take it with the original cast. Like it
I feel like it's gonna be a baton pass.
Yeah.
Which, is, I don't know, I'll be disappointed. I don't care about anyone that's doing anything. I don't care about some 20-something kid.
But it's the Ready or Not writers and directors, which I don't know.
Yeah, which should be good, hopefully.
Yeah. Josh, one of your favorites to go back to during Halloween.
Am I just supposed to name one thing right now?
You can name multiple, whatever you feel like. Just something to return to. Yeah.
The first thing that came to mind when we were when this was brought up was for me is would be Trick or Treat, the Mike Dougherty's unbelievably good anthology film. I think it's actually probably one of my favorite movies of all time. It's the best Halloween film ever made. Sorry, John Carpenter. And it just it does just a tremendous job of capturing that spirit in that time of year. You could watch it, in June, and it would still feel, autumnal outside.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that's probably not the most original choice, but it is one of my favorite films of all time anyway. So there's not a better time of year, I guess, than this time, Halloween, to watch it again. So Mike Dougherty pretty much has a lifetime pass for me for anything that he does, just based on Trick or Treat. So there's not many that have that, but he sure does.
Okay. So my next one that I have, again, because you kind of watch all year round. My wife, however, is not a big horror fan, and so this is the one time of year that I can get her to watch stuff. And one of the ones that we'll return to, because she loves it and loves Tim Curry, is the It miniseries from 1990. We'll normally watch around this time of year. And it, like many of Stephen King's adaptations, it has its very outdated moments, especially being that it was made for TV. But there are still some great moments. Tim Curry kills it. And yeah, I think it's when he's on, it's solid. The rest of the time, no, it's a little rough here and there, but no, I mean, just watching him, it makes however long it is, 2 or 3 hours or something, it makes it worth it just to kind of see him do that.
I like it better than, I'm never gonna watch the other ones.
I saw the first chapter. I haven't seen the second one still.
Yeah, my wife was in love with it, and I saw the first chapter, and she went by herself and saw the second one. But I've heard it's just abysmal, which makes sense because in the Tommy Lee Wallace one, Craig, that you're talking about, the adult part is just not even remotely as good as the kid part. It's just like a night and day difference for whatever reason. That shit just doesn't work.
Well, that's why I'd agree, because when the adults come on, really the only reason why you're watching is to see Tim Curry make the jokes,
right?
And all the stuff, but that's it. Yeah.
And it's like with the kid section, he's not a fucking comedian, but he becomes a comedian, in the adults part, and it's just like the tone is just completely wrong.
Okay, so Kyle.
All right. So I'll also watch Nightmare on Elm Street. I'll just be over here fucking telling you the movies you already know. I don't know. Yeah, it's still my favorite. Actually, I saw it in theaters. I've seen it a couple of random times, like the Halloween before last, or the October before last. It was somewhere, but this year on Halloween, they're going to play it at the drive-in, and then they're going to play the Nightmare on Elm Street Bollywood remake afterwards. So it's going to be good.
So I have a question about Nightmare on Elm Street, since there's still a couple of them that I have not seen.
Okay.
Get my just go away. Just shut your camera off and leave, Craig.
Yeah, seriously. Oh my God.
Well, I've seen all of them except, surprisingly, 3, which is always considered the second best one.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask your ranking. I do love New Night. So I think I watched New Nightmare before, because my brother showed it to me before I watched maybe. I can't remember. I watched them about the same time.
I definitely did too, because New Nightmare was on TNT all the fucking time. There was a bunch of those movies like in the 90s that were whatever, they were on TV all the time. My ranking. I'll give this ranking, and then I'm going to start a ranking cult where we rank all the movies in the order of good to bad, and then we all kill ourselves. People need to stop ranking. Who gives a fuck? Who cares? I don't care what your ranking is. I don't care that someone's like, well, number 7 is actually the best one because of the first one's the fucking best by far. I mean, really, New Nightmare and Part 3 are probably a tie for the second best, and then I don't really care about the rest of them. I want Josh to go because I know he loves Part 4. Let's hear his ranking.
Yeah.
I actually like Part 6 a lot, which everyone fucking shits on, but fuck you. It's a good movie.
Is that the one? Is that Freddy's Dead or the?
That's
Yeah.
Freddy's Dead.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, Kyle's right. 1 is obviously the best. Then I would say 3. Yeah, I actually am not the. I like New Nightmare. I just don't think it's all that great, I guess. And then it's obviously 4, and 5 is clearly the worst. You know, you can throw in. You know, 2 is got an interesting kind of stance just because it's the gayest movie ever made. And also they completely fuck the rules of Freddy up like no other for some reason. I don't know why they did that, but it's a real outlier because once we get to 3, you know, they obviously the rules revert back to what Wes Craven established. So but I like 2 also. I feel like it's, you know, part of the charm is how gay it is. But yeah, so I would say 5 is the worst. And I actually saw it not too long ago, and I'm like, this really isn't that bad either.
It's okay, yeah. 2
Yeah.
is 2, even though it breaks the rules, like that pool scene is fucking
Yeah.
awesome. And some of
Yeah.
the body horror shit, like when Freddy cuts through his body, is fucking cool as hell.
And
What
Robert
about-
Russler.
Yeah, he's great. And he's not
Yeah.
the bully for one fucking movie in the 80s
I know.
ever.
Yeah.
What about Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah.
I
all
loved
tie
it when
into
it
another
came out,
episode.
but it doesn't hold up. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so Josh, your next one. We should, I guess, probably do 3 apiece, or 3 or 4. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, whatever. I
Whatever.
have a few.
Okay.
So Kyle, my sister just texted me. She lives in Chicago and says that the new Batman film's shooting there right now.
Yeah, I saw that. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, she said the whole downtown looks like Gotham City.
I need to go down there right now.
You do. I don't know what you're doing sitting here. Okay, so the next thing I was going to mention for me, and this has kind of become, well, since this film came out, I guess, which was, I think it was 2015, is Tales of Halloween, the anthology that has, you know, overall, it's pretty strong. People bitch that there's too many segments. Go fuck yourself, man.
That was one of the best parts.
Right? I mean, yeah, I don't understand. If that's what you have to bitch about, then yeah, that doesn't count. But there's some real standout ones. I really like the Mike Mendez one. That's Friday the 31st. It's just batshit. But they're all pretty strong, and you know, they're all made by you know, people that I guarantee all love and admire in the horror community. So yeah, Tales of Halloween for sure. Always go back to that one.
And that's loaded with cameos.
Oh yeah, for sure. Good point.
Okay, so my next one that I'll do, normally, so it's not a specific film, but I'll normally do a lot of, again, because it's what I can get my partner to watch, is splat stick, as they call it. So it's either I'll watch something by Stuart Gordon, which is Reanimator, or his company or his people. So there's also the society from beyond, or I'll do something like Dead Alive. It's normally over the top gore to the point that it's silly, comedic, so on. But that's what I'll cover this month so far. I've done which is more of a comedy horror, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and then I am going to do Dead Alive, since I used to watch it a ton, but I haven't watched it in a few years, so I'm going to finally return to that one. And still have my fingers crossed waiting for when Peter Jackson is going to do that re-release that he's been talking about, of doing his, what was it, Bad Taste, Dead Alive, or Brain Damage, or Brain Dead. Yes, Brain Dead overseas, but it's Dead Alive here, so that's what we'll call it. And it would be Meet the Feebles, and the idea that he brought up is that he would go through and do the whole 4K restoration and everything to make some big special box set, which we probably will never get, but I can hope.
Dude, we need it.
Yeah.
God damn it.
I don't think Peter Jackson cares.
He has that Hobbit money.
Exactly.
Whatever.
But he's
The
doing
death of Smog.
Yeah.
Smaug.
Whatever, yeah, that.
Okay.
Because he just did that restoration on what I still haven't seen it yet, the World War I footage.
Oh, the documentary. The documentary made out of it.
Why can't I should just look it up. They Too Shall Die. I can't remember.
You didn't rush out to see the raw footage of World War I, Craig?
No, I should have.
Restored?
He also did some Beatles documentary that he restored. That's his big thing lately for some reason, restoring old footage.
Well,
so restore your own.
Guys gotta have a hobby.
Yeah. Kyle.
All right, keeping that going. Evil Dead 2. It's just the fucking most fun movie probably ever made. I really wish they would show Evil Dead 2 like in because where I am, well now the world is dead, but usually there's like all kinds of revival stuff going on during October, and that's one of the ones that I'm like, they're always showing certain movies, but it feels like no one is doing like a screening of Evil Dead 2, and I don't know why. Like that would be one of the best to go see in the theater, like during Halloween.
They've done a lot of Evil Dead 1 lately, which is it's surprising that they've done that, but not Evil Dead 2, because I think Evil Dead 2 lends itself to be more of a theatrical experience, almost.
Yeah, but they did have that Evil Dead 4K with the new score and everything. I know that's why they were doing like all those releases recently.
Yeah. Josh?
So this is gonna be kind of lame, I guess, but one thing that I feel like can't really be overlooked is certain cable channels right now, like AMC, doing Fear Fest, where it's literally any day of the week you turn it on and something pretty sweet will be on. I especially like that I don't have to think. Just put the fucking channel on, and there's going to be something good on, most likely. IFC 2 has been doing, they're not wall to wall like AMC is, but they've been showing, like earlier today, in fact, they were doing like a little mini Friday the 13th marathon. But yeah, I mean, it can't really be overstated how convenient that shit is, and AMC does a decent job too of like putting together like days where they'll just do like the Halloween films and sequels. They'll just do the Nightmare on Elm Street films and the sequels. They'll just do the Child's Play films and the sequels. And that shit's great because, again, you don't have to think. I've heard a lot of people bitch and complain too that they edit shit so heavily, and it's like, motherfucker, if you don't know these films by heart anyway, shut the fuck up. I mean, it's not anything that you need to cry about. So
or just go watch them by yourself.
Exactly. And just the fact, that a cable channel is not only again, I'm using AMC, they devote the entire month you know, to this shit. So they're fighting the good fight.
That brings up something I used to always do on Halloween that I mean, you can't really do anymore, but as a kid, that was like the best thing to just go to the video store and rent. Just pick a franchise and like watch all of those movies.
That's something we've kind of talked about a little bit doing with Bloodhound, if we ever have the time to do that, because it's a painstakingly long process. But the idea, you're hearing it here first for those that want to, the idea would be for us to basically watch a whole franchise or series, depending how you want to call it, back to back, and then doing a whole episode on it. And which some of them might be a little long, but I think it would be fun to really just sit down, watch them all, and then immediately do an episode. But yeah, my next one actually is a franchise that I won't watch the first one as much, but we'll normally watch one or multiple of the Final Destination movies. And I don't know.
And that's what's on AMC today.
Oh, really?
Right now. Yeah.
I own the like the Blu-ray, or it's the first 4, and I know the 5th one is, I don't know, on demand somewhere. But no, it's become this weird fascination one where you're just kind of watching for the how it's all going to turn out, and the deaths are good. That's really the only reason why you check it out. But I enjoy it. Surprisingly, the 5th one has one of the most cringeworthy deaths. If you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it, but that is one of the best deaths. But my favorite is number 2. And then if you were to ask my partner what hers is, it's number 3, which is the roller coaster. And always one. But I choose number 2 with the highway and I don't know. I think the kills link up better in that one. But the death I'm speaking of in number 5 is the if you haven't seen it, just go to YouTube and type in I think it's just called The Final Destination, and the gymnast scene, and gets me. Yeah. That's all I give you.
Awesome.
Okay, Kyle.
So I was gonna say Halloween, but that's like obligatory. I mean, that is one. I don't know. We don't need to talk about Halloween, but it is one I like to revisit that one time a year, because it's just one we've all seen so many times. I can't really watch it more than once a year at the most. But I'll do the original Dracula with Bela Lugosi, which is one of my favorites. It's one of the first movies I can remember seeing. So, I mean, it's always a great one to revisit this time of year, and just all those old Universal movies.
I've been trying to find it's interesting because I keep going online to buy it, and it's I have the collection where it's all the first, so it's Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride, so on and so forth. But I always want to buy because I love the film Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Dude,
but for some reason it's so expensive all the time.
I just bought that movie. So if you buy them, they have the other collections where it's like it's the separate monsters, but it has
the Legacy collection or whatever.
Yeah, it has all the films. I just bought the Wolfman one because of that, because it was like $15, but it has like 7 movies.
Yeah,
and it has Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, which you can't find anywhere.
Yeah, but it's for those that haven't watched it. That is,
I've never seen it actually. That's why I bought it. Yeah,
it's hilarious. I mean, if you like old school slapstick, it's great.
Universal did put out this just reminded me, how on Tuesday and Wednesday this past week it was Amazon Prime Day. The entire every single one of the Legacy collections was on sale for $70.
Damn.
Normally it's like 150.
Yeah.
So and I was gonna get it, but then between my wife and I, we pretty much have all of it anyway. But but when I saw that, I was like, damn, that's such a, because it's 30 plus films,
Yeah.
you know, and it was like $70, and normally it's like $1.50. So,
and those are awesome ones to like go through the whole franchise of the old ones, but it's always hard to find the like sequels, you know.
Yeah.
Speaking of box sets, before we get into your next one, Josh, you bought the Scream Factory Friday the 13th box set, and how did that turn out?
Everyone's talking about.
Yeah. Did you have issues? Like, I don't know. There's some big issue thing about it that everybody's.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting. The thing is just fucking gorgeous. Yeah, I don't know. And actually, Craig, you sent me that thing, and I don't know if it actually affects every single one of the discs. And I actually went and grabbed my part 3 because that was the first one that they mentioned there's an issue with. And of course, I can't see it in 3D because I don't have a fucking 3D player or TV. So I wouldn't know if that part was fucked up or not. I haven't really had. Okay, so I did watch part 4. I just watched because, you know, the first 4 have the new 4K scans, and I mean, it is that film. Final Chapter. It's never looked that good before. I mean, it's just unreal. How fucking pristine it looks. But I haven't had a real chance to go through, you know, like in depth, go through it. So, hopefully soon, especially, you know, have a little more time, but yeah, the thing is fucking gorgeous. They also had 2 posters, that are just amazing. One of them is just like the box art. And another one is like a 40th anniversary of the original. So yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, hopefully I'll have time to go through it a little more.
Okay. And then, okay. So what is your next pick?
So this doesn't really count either, and this should probably wrap it up for me. But Kyle mentioned, you know, Carpenter's Halloween, and I know, like he said too, the world's fucking dead right now. But there's a theater that's actually a fucking like multiplex near me. But usually, you know, when the world was alive and functioning, the entire month they still would do repertory screenings of, you know, classic shit like, you know, The Shining this Friday and Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, I think it was a few years ago, I actually went and saw Halloween in the theater, and they had an intro from Carpenter talking about how you've never really seen Halloween until you've seen it in the theater, because that is how he intended you to see it, not on your fucking, you know, 60-inch flat screen. I mean, yeah, it might look great at your house, but you're still not getting the effect. And I swear, after listening to him, you know, talk about that and then seeing the film, I was like, it seriously was like a whole different experience. Because, you know, it's like I said, it was a few years ago, but he was like pointing out, you know, just odds and ends, specific things to you know, watch for and shit. So seeing Halloween in the theater like that was fucking awesome.
I did that last year or the year before too. But I agree. I mean, it's like, especially with a widescreen movie, but also just David Lynch talks about it too, and I know people think it's like pretentious, but they do, but it's true. There's an energy you collect from other people. There's also like being just stuck in the movie. You can't pause it. The sound is, you know, it's like you're inside of the movie and experiencing it, you know, the most you're ever going to.
Yeah, and there was when at the screening of Halloween, there was a shitload of people there too, and you know, it was just like, it's fucking awesome, like being able to, you know, have like a real theater experience like that. That shit's over now, though.
Yeah,
it's all over.
Fuck. Remember when you could go to a theater?
Yeah.
So my final one that will to kind of isn't a specific, but and it kind of goes along with what I'll talk about on this show pretty frequently, but I'll read horror comics. This time around, I picked up. Normally, I'll do something that I've already read, like a Welcome to Hoxford, which is a great 4-issue werewolf story written by and drawn by Ben Temple-Smith, who did the art for 30 Days of Night. That's what he's kind of really known for. But this time I read Moonshine, 2 volumes, about in Prohibition era, the mob sends one of their men out to Appalachia to kind of take control over, I guess, Moonshine Run. And then it turns out that there are werewolves, and it's made by the same team that did the comic 100 Bullets, which was a pretty famous comic several years ago about 100 or these random people getting 100 untraceable bullets, and you decide what you can do with it. And yeah, there's a lot more to it than that, but that's just the basic premise. But yeah, I'll read the Clive Barker's Hellraiser collection, which came out a couple years ago, or there's a series of other stuff. I know Kyle just bought the Blu-ray, but I'll read the Book of the Crow or things like that.
I have the Book of the Crow too.
Yeah.
I was just looking for Hellraiser. I was just at a comic shop, but they didn't have any of it.
Yeah, it's a hard one to find now. I don't know, with Hellraiser actually becoming bigger again, and all this talk about the movies, for some reason now the comics are impossible to find. When nobody was talking about it, they were there in plenty. But
weird.
But that ends my list.
That's Halloween.
Yeah,
I guess
that is. So those are some of our favorites. Of course, send us some of your traditions and your favorites. What do you like to watch, read, listen to, and so on? Or draw, I don't know. Even if you have a specific tradition that is you go out to a pumpkin patch or whatever it may be, send it to us and we'd love to hear it. Yes. Thank you for listening.
Bloodhound Pix podcast is part of the Morbidly Beautiful Podcast Network. Produced by Josh Lee, Craig Drum, and Kyle Hintz. Music by Raymond Seed. Editing by Kyle Hintz.